Carney, I'm from Radio-Canada. In his plan this morning, Mr. Poilievre is keeping daycare and dental care, but he proposes a much smaller deficit than yours. Don't you think that the Conservatives are going to please voters? We can't hear you. Yes, okay. It's a plan with numbers? Imagine, for example, with regard to daycare and dental care. The Conservative platform says, okay, we'll keep them for people who already have it, but not the others. So there'll be two Canadian kinds of Canadians. A Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian, first. Secondly, with regard to reducing taxes, the bring it home tax cut, it won't happen. It is supposed to come in the fourth year of his mandate. This tax cut for the middle class of my party is happening now, during this crisis of purchasing power. With regard to the numbers together in the Mr. Poilievre's platform, there's magic. Growth that falls from the sky during a crisis that he doesn't know how to manage. It's a dream. It'll be a nightmare for Canadians. But we can't compare a true platform, a prudent yet ambitious plan like the Liberal Party has, and Poilievre's nightmare.
There are so many phantom numbers in that platform. But let's start with the approach. With respect to $10 a day childcare, with respect to dental care, farmer care, the approach is, if you already have it, you can keep it, but no one else can have it. So we have two types of Canadians. I thought a Canadian was a Canadian is a Canadian. In our country, that is the case. So you bet if you haven't had children and got them in, you get the point. Secondly, there's a phantom growth that comes from the sky in his platform that arrives and changes his numbers, even though he doesn't have a plan to fight against President Trump. He also has a tax cut, a bring-it-home tax cut that never comes home. It doesn't arrive until year 4 and 5, right when we see the need of Canadians. Our tax cut, compared to his plan, I'll give you one number, is 4 times larger this year. Is 4 times larger. These numbers are a joke. We aren't in a joke. We are in the worst crisis of our lives. It takes a serious government. It takes a serious plan. It takes a plan that delivers today. It takes a plan that delivers investment. It takes a plan that grows this economy, stands up to Trump, and moves forward with the brilliance of the workers here and across Quebec and across Canada.
Vous dites que vous avez un plan responsable. En même temps, vous avez un économiste comme Trevor Toome. And yet, Trevor Toome, economist, says of your plan, what you're proposing is unsustainable for Canada. Aren't you concerned? I have a lot of experience, we have to say, as an economist and economy manager. We have a prudent plan, not assumptions.
Okay.
There's no increase of deficit to GDP first. There's a reduction in the deficit, the government deficit, about the size of the economy. Third, we are increasing the growth by 9% to 2%, with assumptions that are very prudent, and basically this plan will grow and accelerate the growth here in Canada, a plan that will make us strong versus the U.S. that will weaken. So he's wrong, obviously. I have more experience than he does, I have to say.
With CBC. I'd like to follow up on that. Just if you've got an economist like Trevor Toome saying that your plan is unsustainable, Is just that, is there an argument that if Pierre Poilievre is trying to bring down spending, bring down the deficit, that his plan is more fiscally responsible than yours?
Okay. There's one thing that you can write on a paper. There's another thing that will happen in the economy. Okay? So our plan, to be clear, is focused on investment and growing this economy. All of the spending, all of the investment in years 3 and 4 are for growing the economy. We are creating $500 billion of investment in this economy over the course of the next 4 years. That sounds like an enormous number. It is an enormous number. And the vast, vast majority of that investment comes from companies like Marmon, our big investments in clean and conventional energy, our investments in auto, our investments in housing and beyond from the private sector, but with a clear directional plan. The Conservative plan makes it up. It literally makes it up. It says that growth will come from somewhere, even though there's no plan to address the biggest risk to our economy, the U.S., even though their tax cut doesn't arrive for 4 years, even though their costing numbers are far too low, even though their reductions in spending don't appear. And on top of that, they divide Canadians into two. If you're at home and you don't have your children in a $10 a day daycare, if you're not taking advantage of dental care, if you want to watch the CBC or Radio Canada, c'est fini avec les conservatives.
It's over with the Conservatives.
So, look, it's very different. I would, if you want to compare economists, why don't you look at what Mike Moffat has said today about the costing of the Conservative plan. I mean, this is not we can have the discussion, but this is a real crisis, a real situation. The question is, within a week's time, who's going to be negotiating with President Trump and who's going to be managing the finances of this country? It's going to be François-Philippe Champagne and myself and our team, or is it going to be a group that made it up on a napkin, released it a couple of days before the election, and has never taken responsibility for these types of decisions in the past? That's the question.